Hey guys, Energy Madeline here, and I want to talk about a super cool kind of story, parable, analogy that I heard. There's a gentleman by the name of Jordan Peterson. He is a professor, a university professor from Canada. He's also an author. He has some incredible books. Look him up on YouTube. Very inspirational. And the reason I like this one the most is because it has Harry Potter vibes. Love Harry Potter. And I started rewatching all of them. Serendipitously stumbled upon this analogy. The theme is you are playing the wrong game. You're trying to win a game that is A, not worth winning. Also, Simon Sinek talks about the difference between a finite game, like a game of soccer, where there are rules and points and it ends and you can push yourself so fucking hard because you know it's only 90 minutes, maybe 95 with extra time. But in life, we really should be playing an infinite game, a game that never ends. It doesn't make sense to burn ourselves out. How we score each other changes. What we get points for changes. How we win changes. There's so many things to unpack there, and what I've realized is that life is an infinite game, but work feels a lot of times like it's a finite game. And what Jordan Peterson says is that, here's where the fun analogy comes in. In Harry Potter, we're all familiar with the game of Quidditch. What I didn't put together until I heard it articulated was that there are really two games going on during Quidditch. There's the actual Quidditch match, which is very much our day-to-day. Work, what to wear, do I have to put on a bra to go to the grocery store? Am I gonna get promoted? Am I gonna pay my bills? Is my mom mad at me? Like, there's so many ebbs and flows, peaks and valleys. And the distinction, so you can know which of the two games we're talking about here, the distinction there is that that's the kind of game that has tons of different initiatives, lots of different goals, a vast array of a cast of characters, that you're interacting with. And this game is the game that is really hard to win. You have to score a lot of points. There's bludgers, you're flying around, you can get knocked off your broom. It's crazy. It's really hard to play. It's even harder to win. But that's the game that we're all trying to play. Lest we forget, Harry Potter, or Draco Malfoy, if you're a Slytherin fan, is up in the clouds, chasing the snitch. Jordan Peterson calls this the meta game. There's a meta game happening, a game within a game, where if you grab that snitch, you win the whole game. The other game suddenly doesn't matter. Whistle blown, we're done, and you won the game. You got the snitch. What is our metagame? The way it's been framed to me and what's been helping me so much lately is that the metagame is everything that I do every single day with consistency. Waking up at the same time, making my bed a little bit, not waking up 10 minutes before a meeting, waking up an hour before I start my day, having my coffee, talking to my husband, washing my face before going to bed. It's a big one. And if you do that, if you focus on the meta game, the boring stuff, the stuff that you think doesn't count as life, that's the game you want to play. Play in the day-to-day game of trying to win in traffic and win with your partner and win at work and all these things that are just times in our lives. They're little blips. They happen, they stop happening. They're not consistent. They're not the thread that weaves our lives together. That's what the metagame is. The metagame is, how do you show up every day as a person? How do you do what you do? What you're doing matters far less. So you're playing the wrong game. You're playing this game that is really hard to win. The rules are changing on you constantly. There's no scoreboard. Like, you never know if you're actually doing well. You always feel like you're behind, even if you're ahead. And the game we really need to be playing, that meta game, that snitch grab, sounds really dirty. That snitch grab, I'm gonna start saying that now, is just the stuff you do every day. Wake up, clean your room a little bit. Don't shame yourself. Don't get into a dark hole of all or nothing syndrome where, if your apartment's not spotless, it might as well be disgusting. Take 10 minutes. Take 10 minutes, restore your space, throw out a couple pieces of junk mail, maybe empty the dishwasher because you've been doing dishes in the sink for the last week because you don't want to empty it if you're anything like me. Win that meta game. Call your mom. Tell your spouse something that you haven't had the guts to tell them. Just clean up a little bit. And the last thing I'll say here is when it comes to substance abuse or addictions, I've been talking about this a lot lately. Sometimes doing nothing is way better for you than doing something. If you're playing the Quidditch game, you have to do, score, fly, let's go, like knock someone off, like you're producing, you're doing, you're moving, you're grinding. But sometimes sitting, being, resting, drinking water, sitting outside, watching my hummingbird feeder, not drinking, not doing drugs, not texting your ex, not doing something is sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself. So I challenge you to write down 2 things that if you either stopped doing these things every day or started doing these things every day, maybe one of each. Stop eating so much at night that you feel sick and full to try to go to sleep. It's a high. So I'm gonna try to stop doing that, and I'm gonna start waking up at the same time every day. Just at the same, doesn't matter if it's super early, just at the same time every day. So those are mine. If you can just find one thing you're gonna stop consistently, test it for a week, and find one thing you're gonna start doing, test it for a week. Nothing crazy, super easy, boring, attainable, something that you wouldn't think is worthy of bragging about. Do it or don't do it, and then fucking brag about it. Be like, you know what? I told myself that I wasn't gonna eat myself sick for a whole week, and I didn't. And instead of being so embarrassed that I had that problem before and that I shouldn't have had that problem and I shouldn't tell anybody I had that problem, I should be ashamed of myself for even needing, I'm gonna be proud of myself for having self-awareness and for changing my life. I have an amazing favorite quote. It was the quote of my wedding, which is, how we spend our days is, of course, how we spend our lives. This is not a dress rehearsal. The clock has begun. This isn't practice. So what you do every single day is what your life ends up looking like. And it's not the game that they're playing down there with the points and the pressure and the time and the, did you get picked for the team? That's not the game that we're playing here. We are rising up. We are lifting our heads up. We are zooming out. And we're going to play the meta game, which is calm, consistency, cleaning up our spaces, taking care of ourselves, focusing on the things that we do day in and day out. We're going to perfect those, and everything else is just going to take care of itself. So make sure you're playing the right game. Be gentle to yourself. Celebrate. And I hope that helps. Love you guys.